Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and happy Bookmas Day 5. Today we're going to go through every book still left on my physical TBR at the end of 2025. I'm filming this on December 3rd, so by the time you're seeing this, I might have gone through some of these books because I still have some Christmas reads to make it through, but as it stands in the month of December, these are the books that I still have left physically on my TBR, and it's much more than it was this time last year, and I don't know if my book buying problem has worsened going into 2026 or if I finally come to a conclusion that I need to maybe mediate some of my shopping habits. And we'll go through and count all these books by the end. If I had to guess, I'm thinking somewhere in the 30 to 40 range is how many I have left on my physical TBR, but I'm not sure. And given that I have that many, it's going to be more of a rapid fire going through some of these books. So if you're like, I want to see a vlog on that book, or I'm like, you absolutely have to read that book, or you can wait on this book, do leave it in the comments down below. So let's go through every book left on my physical TBR. First up, this is a series that I got for my birthday this year and is the Grishaverse, or the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. This is a classic book talk, booktube series that I just haven't read. I've heard everyone say that Six of Crows, that duology, is much better than this, but I like to read things in order and know what's happening. Then another book talk, booktube classic, To Kill a Kingdom. This is a more recent edition. I picked it up at Mr. K's maybe a month or two ago. It's a standalone fantasy, I think inspired by The Little Mermaid, or at least it has mermaid mythology in there, and I love me a good mermaid siren story. Then we have a book that's on my 10 before the end, and that's The Last Boyfriend's Guide to Revenge by Matthew Hubbard. I did see that a sequel in this series had been released, so I really want to get to this one, and it just seems like a fun queer time. Speaking of another fun queer time, The Spells We Cast by Jason June. Jason June is one of my favorite YA authors, YA queer authors. He writes fun, cutesy little romances with a touch of little like fantastical elements. And I picked this up at Mr. K's a couple months ago and I just haven't gotten to it yet. A book that my brother brought me, I think for my birthday this year, An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I'm so excited to delve into this world. It's another major popular YA fantasy series. I just haven't gotten around to starting this one because I've been focusing on other YA fantasy / dystopian series this year. So I picked this book up, The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Everyone on Book Talk has been recommending this in terms of fantasy books and fantasy series. However, I'm pretty sure the series isn't finished, and I know it's an adult high fantasy, and I don't know if I have the brain power yet to consume it, so I have put it off. So if you want me to do a week of reading books that intimidate me, just let me know. Then we have This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. I bought this last fall. This is a YA sapphic vampire romance series, and I know the sequel came out this year. It's just vampire books, and I don't have a strong connection. I either just really don't like them or I'm mad on them usually, but sometimes I find a gem in there, and given how popular vampire romance is on the internet, I like to have a few in my arsenal to recommend. I just haven't picked this one up. Then we have a YA mystery thriller, Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Ibike Ayamide. I really liked Ace of Spades, and this was sort of her second YA thriller that she came out with. I've heard everyone say that this one is not quite as good as Ace of Spades, or they didn't like it as much, but we do have a bisexual lead, and as a bisexual myself, I will always seek out, bisexual books. I just haven't, been in the mood for this thriller. Then I have What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. My best friend my best friend is kind of like, she likes this series. I don't think it's a favorite series, but if you know anything about me, Egyptian mythology and I have a strong lore. This past summer I taught a teen camp on ancient Egypt. So frankly put, I don't know why I haven't gotten to this yet, but it's like at the top of the list. Then we have a series that I am in the middle of, but I did finish the first original arc, and that is Shatter Me. So the original arc of Shatter Me was the first 3 books plus the first 2 novellas. So of the second arc, we have Restore Me, Defy Me, Imagine Me, and then the 2 novellas There's 2 novellas in here and 1 novella in here. So that's Shadow Me, Reveal Me, and Believe Me. So those are left. I think that is going to be an arc that I tackle in the new year. Another book that was on my 10 before the end, Heavenly Bodies by Imani Ariu. So this book was very popular at the beginning of the year, romantasy that is being well-loved, well-liked. I know the sequel came out at the end of this year. I just frankly, I don't know if I've just not been in an adult romantasy mood this year, which truly is just the fact. I've been really, in terms of fantasy, been in my YA fantasy mode, and that's just the reason I haven't picked it up. Then we have Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. I've had this book for a while. Everyone says that this is their least favorite work by Olivia Blake. And I'm not like, I like her work, but it's never anything that I go out of my way to like pick up immediately. So at some point I'll probably get to it, just not right now. Then we have Heist Royale by Kavion Lewis. This is the sequel or the second book in the Thieves Gambit duology. This one is like half the size of the original book. But I did read that book, I think, in October, and the paperback came out in November. I just haven't picked it up in favor of filming for Bookmas right now and reading the books that I had planned for Bookmas. How Went Down by Kekla Magoon? I'm not quite sure. This is a YA literary fiction. It touches on a lot of hard topics, particularly surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement, as far as I know. It's won a lot of awards. I just haven't gotten around to it just because I don't generally pick up literary fiction. So again, this could be a book that is like books that have intimidated me. We could put that on that reading blog list. Then we have the sequel to The Bone Spindle, and that is The Severed Thread by Leslie Vedder. This is a YA fantasy retelling of Sleeping Beauty and Little Red Riding Hood. I enjoyed the first book in the series. I just didn't enjoy it enough to like pick up the second book immediately after. But I am curious to see how the series continues going forward, given how we ended in the last one. I wonder if Briar Rose is about to get a little creepy. Then we have another sequel, Girl of Nightmares by Kendare Blake. So I read Anna Dressed in Blood last year. It's a really just like fun like YA thriller, kind of gives me like, or YA horror thriller. I felt like if you like Scooby-Doo but you want something a slight bit gorier, I felt like that book was good, and this is the sequel to it. It isn't something that I absolutely have to read because I feel like the first book ended in a great place for me, so it's on here in case I'm in the mood for something spooky. Then we have another series that I got for my birthday this year, and that is the Caraval trilogy, another Book Talk popular series. I know everyone raves about Once Upon a Broken Heart and says that you don't necessarily have to read Caraval before that, but again, I like to read things in order. I just haven't decided that I wanted to pick it up yet. Another set of books and authors that I'm intimidated to read. We have the set of books from Octavia Butler as well as The Parable of the Sower duet. I bought these because, again, we're trying to collect banned books, and Octavia Butler seems to always be making that list. However, sci-fi is not really my genre. I don't know if these would actually be far up my alley, but I've been in a dystopian mood, so I'm curious to see how these shake out. So we have Parable of the Sower, Parable of the Talents. I really should have finished this because if I'm correct, this story ends or takes place in 2025. I'm not 100% sure. And then we have Adulthood Rights, Dawn, and Imago. I have no earthly idea what these are about, but I got them for Christmas last year. Then I have a book that's been on my TBR, I feel like, for a little while, To Have and Heist by Sarah Desai. This is a heist thriller rom-com situation. I just haven't been that drawn to it. I don't know if there's something that I need to unhaul from my TBR or if I just like need to find a reason to read it. If you've read it, let me know. Did you like it? Then we have the newest book to my TBR, and that is The Romance Rivalry by Susan Lee. I went to our new romance-only bookstore in the region this past week, and this is a book that just caught my eye. I love the cover art, and I'm pretty sure that it is about a book reviewer, and she's entering college with a rival book reviewer, and their little rivalry romance situation going on. And I thought that was just a fun little topic. Then more books that scare me. Toni Morrison. She is a beloved author amongst the community. I think she writes primarily lit fic, and again, collecting banned books. She just these are like modern classics, and some modern classics, even classics in general, scare me. But this month for December, I put The Bluest Eye on my TBR. I don't know if I'll get to it before the end of the year, but it's on there. And then we have Beloved. Now, something has damaged the book, but I feel like this is everyone's favorite from what I've heard. And then The Song of Solomon. This would have been one of like my AP reading books that was a possibility when I was in high school. We just never ended up choosing this one. So I'm curious about that one. And then R.F. Kuang. I still have The Dragon Republic and The Burning God. I really enjoyed this series. Again, it's just something about high fantasy that I need to be in the particular mood and headspace for, and I just know that emotionally I will be damaged. I think I've heard a lot of people say that the second book is their favorite, but like I'll withhold judgment. These will probably be something that I get into at the beginning of the new year. Alright, so we're rounding out. First off, we have books that were favorites as a child that I just like to keep around because they remind me of nostalgia. So we have the first 4 books in the Infinity Ring series. I think I read the first 3 when I was in middle school or high school, and I just never finished the series. But that is A Mutiny in Time, Divide and Conquer, The Trapdoor, and then Curse of the Ancients. This is like a middle grade, this is a middle grade time travel sci-fi series that I think is really fun for those of us who are interested in history. And yeah, I keep these around in case I have like free time and just want like a quick read. And then we have 2 more books in the 39 Clues series. I actually picked up one of them this year. So this is part of the Unstoppable arc. This is book 2, and it is Breakaway. And this is a part of the Double Cross arc, and that is book 2, Mission Hindenburg. So this arc comes before this arc. I just collect these books as I see them because this is my favorite series as a kid growing up. And I would like to collect them all, but like, I don't know. Apparently these come in paperback now, which surprised me. But I just kind of wait and find them at thrift stores as I can get them. And then I just add them and I pick them up whenever I'm in the mood. Then another book series that I think I got for my birthday or could have gotten for Christmas last year, and that is the Dance of Thieves duology. So it's Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is a YA romantasy that I feel like is very popular and has been for a while on BookTube and Book Talk. Again, I just haven't been motivated to pick the series up. I've put it on a few TBRs this year. It just hasn't piqued my interest as much as other things. Then on to the books that are on my December/holiday TBR. We have Ride With Me by Simone Saltani. This is the sequel to Cross the Line. It's an F1 racing romance following a down-on-her-luck pop star and a sort of disgraced F1 driver, and they get married in Vegas, and that just sounds fun to me. Then we have a book that's been on the chopping block many a time, and that's Immortal Dark by Tyga Skirma. I have Softly Enough this last year. It's been on many TBRs this year, and I know everyone loves this, and the sequel just came out. I just, there's the only thing that I just, frankly, like I said, vampire stories, the reason that I've always said that I don't love vampire stories is dark and angsty isn't usually my vibe. You have to catch me at the right time, and if you don't catch me at the right time, I won't be down. And this story is just super dark and angsty. I don't really mind the main characters. I think truthfully, I've just determined this year that I found more and more what I love in stories, and I definitely think I lead more towards comedic, happy-go-lucky, like that vibe, like the romance, the fluff, sometimes a slice of life, whereas this one is definitely more for those who want something grittier, which is not necessarily my vibe. So if you see this in an unhaul coming in the new year, just that should let you know that it wasn't necessarily my favorite. Then we have holiday reads, Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, The Merry Misters by Timothy Janofsky, and Flopping into Winter Wonderland by Jason June. You would have seen these in Bookmas Day 3 when I went over my holiday TBR, and these I do plan on getting to in the month of December in order to expand my holiday romance reading vlog. Plus, it's been a good holiday romance month so far, even though we're only 3 days in. So let me go ahead and count up all of these books, and then I'll give you a final number. So I counted up all the books. I have exactly 50 books on my physical TBR. I know I have dwindled down from my highest point this year, because there was a point where I had to take up 2 complete shelves for my physical TBR, and now I really have to take up like 1 and maybe a bit of a quarter. or like, you know, a third situation. So that does make me happy that I've dwindled that down. But I also like that it came out to an even number, so at least it gives me a starting point from where to knock things down next year. Let me know which books on my physical TBR you're most excited to see me read, or you want to see me read as soon as possible. And if you've read any of these books, let me know what your favorites, your thoughts and opinions of them are, and how many books do you still have left on your physical TBR? Because I know I'm not the only one who might have a bit of a book buying problem.